What would it be worth if you were in perfect vibrational alignment to create the life of your dreams? A few minutes of your time? Welcome to Believe and Receive Radio, hosted by author, speaker, and NLP certified happiness coach Cassi Eubank. Get techniques and tricks to kick the law of attraction into action. Learn to think with a billionaire mindset. It's easier than you think, and the abundancy you deserve is closer than you know. With more Zen enlightenment to inspire your day, here's Cassandra.
Hello, believers. It's Cassandra here with another great half hour of Believe and Receive Radio. I am so glad that you have joined me here today. We have got an amazing show coming up, and I'm very excited about it. I'm also excited that we are here on the Amazing Women of Power Radio Network, the world's leading positive programming network, powered by Raven International. It's such a cool station. They have so many great hosts and so many great programs, and I'm so glad to be part of it. And today, we have got a show that I am very, very excited about. My guest today is Shari Stailey. Shari is a world-renowned astronumerologist, also known as the Manifestation Mentor. Shari grew up with personal challenges and difficulties, and at the age of 9 years old, Shari realized that she was unique. She could see and hear things that no one else could. Healing was a natural gift which came to her with joy and doubts. Accepting who she is and balancing all that she was sent here to do was a delicate job for a child to grasp. Through her life experiences, professional teachings, and sought-out education, it became clear what her chosen path was, creating a balance between our reality and the spiritual world. Shari is an intuitive healer with the highest and best intention for all she works with. The basic premise is love. I like that. And the tools that Shari has diligently studied and practiced, astrology and numerology, have enabled her to reach out to those in need. It's through this combined set of sciences, numerology and astrology, along with her intuitive and healing gifts, that this gifted woman can take any person's set of birth numbers, birth certificate name, and current name to build their personal number code blueprint. This will assist anyone with their life's purpose and growth in all areas of their personal life and business. So right now, we aren't going to wait. We're going to go straight to the phones and talk to Shari Stailey.
All right, everybody, I am on the phone now with Shari, and I am so excited to be here with her. Shari, welcome to Believe and Receive Radio. We are so glad to have you.
Well, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, you know what? It is our pleasure. First of all, some of our listeners may not know what numerology is. I know that sounds hard to believe, but I didn't really have a full understanding of it either until after we spoke. So why don't we just tell them a little bit about numerology and how it can help them in their life?
Well, I can do that. Numerology is the science of numbers. It's a character analysis of each number found in birth dates and names to solve that age-old question, who am I? So numerology can be used in a very practical way to understand what our life purpose really is. So it's so exciting because this system really outlines our natural talents and interests. It brings awareness to our subconscious tendencies, allows us to examine the opportunities and challenges along our path. It's been used by human beings since the beginning of time, with its core discovery being attributed to Pythagoras. Pythagoras is the one that discovered that our entire universe was made up of number frequencies. And so when we take this information within your name and birth date and then incorporate the elements of this system into our daily lives, it then helps us to confront our deepest fears and insecurities, which only serve to create obstacles along the way, right? So do you now see why numerology is so important?
Well, no, it is, especially because most people, they really want to know, what is my life's purpose? A lot of times, not everybody has a clear vision of, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to be a doctor, and they grow up and they're a doctor and that's all they ever want to do. A lot of people, we are so multifaceted, and there are so many dimensions to us that finding out, I have a lot of things that I like, but how can I serve the most? How can I be of the most use? How can I leave this planet a better place? And it sounds like this really hones in on that. And for people who have multiple desires, goals, dreams, it helps them focus on what's going to serve them first. Is that correct?
That is correct. And so when we do your entire blueprint, we can have that little window into you and your soul and what your personality type is, all of that good stuff. So I know that we're going to be running just a little bit short on time, and I've got so much information to give you. So first of all, what I like to start with in my particular readings is your name, because that's the one thing that we have control over is what we go by now, because we had our birth name that our parents gave us, and we don't have any control over the date we were born, right? So what we can play with is our name. So let's talk about your current name right now, Cassandra.
I'm very excited about that because, here on the show, we're doing a live reading with my information. But what that means to my listeners is you can get a taste of how the information that Shari can provide for you, which, by the way, I love that name. It is so très chic, so magnifique. It is so French, and I just love the way that rolls off your tongue. Let me ask you first, is that your birth name?
Shari is my birth name. It was spelled with one R when I was born, but I changed it to a fortunate number, so I added a double R. But yes, my birth name is Shari, yes.
And it rolls off the tongue. It is just so fitting for you. It is just so magnificent, just like you are. So, well, that's great. And I'm excited to get the reading. And by our listeners hearing the information you give me, and I know what you said, this is just going to touch the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more you can provide. It's an in-depth analysis. It takes you to all kinds of places and really helps you with your self-discovery. So, I'm
Absolutely.
so excited. Tell me about my name.
Okay. So when we use your first name and your last name, Cassandra Eubank, I find that this number is a 44. And now this number can be quite challenging, and this could actually slow down your path to success, creating a few unnecessary obstacles and even prevent you from reaching some of your goals.
Okay. So what is one to do? And again, we won't get into how you get these numbers. I know you could teach classes on this stuff, but what can I do if I do have a challenging number?
Okay, when you have a challenging number, what we want to do is work with the spelling of your name, or we want to add maybe a middle initial or something to this effect. So when I was playing around with your name prior to the show, I took Cass because I know you go by Cass or Cassie. So what I did was take C-A-S-S from your name and add my last name, Cassi Eubank. And so for short, I came up with another number, which was 13, and that one's also challenging. So I played around a little bit more, and so if you use Cassie with an I-E, Cassi Eubank would then be a 10, which is a fortunate number of instant manifestation. And so I see you really being able to use that particular name because you have such a positive outlook on life. Or you could use Cassie with a Y, and this Cassi Eubank spelling would be a 32, which is a number that invites freedom and change. And this number is the ultimate number of freedom, and it gives you those leadership qualities and the charm that you have. You already have those. Yeah.
Well, I've always been called Cassie. It's Cassandra or Cassie, and Cassie has always been spelled C-A-S-S-I, which is how it was given to me by my mom, which actually a fun little story. When I was in third grade, one of the two times that I got in trouble in third grade, high school we won't really talk about that, but in third grade, one of the two times I got in trouble, I was changing the spelling of my name every day. I just thought it'd be fun to play with it. So I would do K-A-S-Y and K-A-S-E-Y and C-A-S-S-I-E, and I would change them all. But anyway, I had a lot of fun with that. My teacher didn't. She got pretty upset with me. But Cassi is what I usually go with if I'm not Cassandra. It's Cassi. And people misspell it with Cassie, which is a 10 now, which is fantastic because that is ultimate manifestation, and I love that. But Cassi, tell me about that one. Is that one I could use?
Well, yes, that one would be a good one for you to use if you prefer it, because that property in this particular instance does not change the number. So that would still give you that number 32, and so that would be greatness for you. Absolutely. But now we need to remember right quick, let me throw this in there, that it's really, really important that we have only one fortunate current name so that the number can be fully activated and not compete with any other names or additional versions of your name. Because if that were to happen, it would dilute those numbers, and so you wouldn't get the same outcome as to what you're going to do. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, then let me ask you a question, because I'm sure this will apply to other people who are going to, call you in and want to avail you of your services. I've been going as Cassandra for a while now. How do you change that to, okay, now I'm going to be Cassi, I'm going to go by my nickname, and when other people misspell it, do you just kind of insist, okay, no, it's spelled like this, and correct them until they get it right? And how do you people know me as Cassandra? Would you start by putting Cassi in parentheses and then eliminating Cassandra altogether?
Well, a lot of times what you can do is actually put an AKA, all right, on what you do, like in your mailings and so on and so forth. You can put that AKA on there, known as, and on your bank account you can do the same thing. But what I would really recommend is anything that comes across your desk, your billings, your credit card statements, anytime you sign your checks, things, bills, and what you pay out, all of your emails, your Facebook pages, all of those would want to be consistent, because you want to emit that same vibration that you're selecting, because it's emitting out into the universe, and it's inviting what you want to come to you. So I would try to make that as consistent as possible. Now, whenever you grow up and you have a certain name and everybody wants to call you that name, then I would just start saying, I'm going by Cass now, or I'm going by Cassi now,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and again, it's just the spelling. So, okay, well, great.
That spelling matters.
They say what's in a name, but you know what? Apparently everything's in a name.
It is. It really is.
So a rose called by any other name might not be successful.
That's right.
I love that. Well, what other great stuff did you find out, Shari? I'm so excited about this.
Okay, so you gave me your birth certificate name, and we're not going to give everybody that information, and you gave me your birth date. So with your birth certificate name, which is how I've calculated your destiny number, I find that you're a 15-6. And now this number is referred to by the ancient Chaldeans as the spiritual alchemist. And as a 15-6, you have great magnetism and an inborn talent for creating prosperity. Right. And so you're doing a humdinger of a good job so far. And just think what you could do when you start spelling your name consistently. Oh, my goodness.
I know. Actually, it is very exciting. Sometimes we just need to know the right way to go, the path that's going to produce the results that we want. And so I'm really excited about all this. You hear that, listeners? It's Cassi Eubank now, not Cassandra.
That's right. Okay, and so I can also tell you that love is the reigning factor in your life, and your destiny dictates that you teach the meaning of love to all of humanity, and that's part of what you're doing with your show and with your coaching. And so you're on the right track, baby. And so you're also very wise and philosophical, and you're not afraid of working really hard for your possessions and your fortune. As well, it tells me that you persevere and that you have a very strong will, and also that your soul is here to serve and be responsible to family and those who are in need of care. And
that
now,
is spot on. Wow.
Awesome? Yes,
you would think we'd be best friends since the third grade or something here.
Right. It really gives me a win.
She really doesn't know all that much about me yet. I mean, we are on our path to being best friends, but really this is all from the numbers. This is fantastic.
It is. So now what I want to do is go into, explain the positive and the shadow side aspects of the number. Everything that we have and everything that we do in life has a positive and a lot of people say negative, but I'm going to call it the shadow side, because when we turn on our proverbial flashlight and we put this particular, shine a light on this topic or this subject or this cause, it's no longer in the dark. So we're going to call it that, okay? And so the shadow side is what is just the darker aspects. And when you know your numbers like this, we can find out which symptoms that you are having. And if you're tilting out of balance or perhaps beginning to manifest something that is less than what you want in your life, then we can actually take the remedies like you would if you had a cold. You have these symptoms coming on. You get the sniffly nose and the scratchy throat, and you're just kind of feeling right? And so then you can take one of those effervescents or, increase your vitamin C, or maybe go grab some echinacea to kind of build up your immune system a bit, and get a little bit more rest so that it doesn't have a full-on effect on you. So this, knowing your numbers, you also have the same opportunities to remedy the situation that's going on. So if the symptoms that you're having let's talk about the 15-6. If you were operating in the shadow side of your 15-6 number, then you would be overbearing or sacrificial, or maybe have some indecisiveness going on.
The indecisiveness sometimes, yes, because I do have so many loves and passions. So, yes, I can see that, and I can see where, just like I know I'm a little bit deficient in calcium, so I take calcium pills. Knowing what your, shadow side is allows you to build up there and be aware of that and prevent that. So,
correct.
And so just when you're aware of it, what do you help people, and you teach people, you say, okay, your shadow side is, sometimes, and that is something that I watch for, because I like to do, and I'm an action person, and sometimes I realize that the people I'm working with are not. So I need to slow my roll down to, accommodate the group and not just be charging ahead. And leaving people behind. So that is something that I am aware of in my life, and I do guard against that. Indecisiveness, how would you guard against something like that? And once you know it, I've got, techniques that I use now, but what would you advise somebody who hadn't developed techniques for guarding against the shadow side?
Well, we're going to work with meditation and being in balance. We're going to be working with being one with nature and being good to yourself and having positive thoughts. And whenever we're starting to tilt out of balance, we're going to pull back into, from the shadow side, back into balance, so that we can really be aware that what we're manifesting, because the world responds, the universe responds. Just like with the law of attraction, you want to know that you are having positive feelings and positive thoughts, because this is what's coming back to you. So as soon as you realize that you're in the shadow side of your number, then we take the steps to pull back in. And then when you realize what your shift number is, then I give you a set of remedies for that shift number as well. So not only do you learn about what you habitually do and what you're actually going to be working with for the majority of your life, I'm also going to give you a set of remedies to go along with it.
Oh, I love that. But I love your overall approach, too, because bottom line is, a lot of times if a person is not well in one area of their life, they treat that one area of their life instead of treating the whole thing. So I'm a firm believer in meditation, and I find that if, I'm getting a little bit, I'm starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable and like there's a little bit too much going on, and what do I do first? I'll just say the whole list goes out the window and I go meditate. And that grounds me. So when I go back to the list, I can, look at it and go, okay, well, let's pick my top 3 priorities and label them 1, 2, 3, and the rest of the list doesn't exist. Just those 3 things do. And when I get that list done, if I get it done, then I can, go on and do the same thing and pick 3 more. So I love that approach. And, yes, there are certain things you can do to take care of an individual issue, but I love that you guide people back to the whole, overall, holistic of the wholeness of the body. And that's very profound, Shari. That's very
absolutely profound. Because it is full, it is all of our aspects. We have our mental self, our spiritual self, we have our physical self. We have all of those bodies that we need to take care of on an everyday basis. And when one tilts out of balance, the others are going to start tilting out of balance too. If you're not resting well, then guess what's going to happen with your body? When your body starts, getting fatigued or in stress, then your mind and your emotions follow suit. So it's really important to take care of self. And, our numbers have direct effects on our physical health as well, just like with our chakras. And so it's really awesome how all of this happens. And so Cassie, there's so much more I want to tell you about your date of birth number and stuff too. So let's move on, okay?
Excellent. I'm with you.
Yes. And so with your date of birth, which is going to tell me your life purpose number, I see that you're at 28-10-1. And so within this number, I know that you love to explore. Your mind is very original and inventive and ambitious. You're the trailblazer and the trendsetter. I got you, didn't I? And you also embody. Yeah, I did. I know I did. And so you also embody the archetype of instant manifestation in that number. Do you see that 10-1 we were talking about? Okay. So this means that you have the ability to manifest your goals very easily and oftentimes instantly. And so know this, that number 10 is very, very powerful, and it carries great responsibility because your thoughts and your feelings will indeed manifest through your thought, whether your thoughts are positive or negative, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so in the shadow side of that number, you would find yourself being self-centered. And so some of the symptoms to indicate that you're tilting out of balance will be when you are very fixed, opinionated, and stubborn. Also, if you neglect your spiritual awakening and your spiritual awareness, you could even become tyrannical, and that's not cool.
No, that's not.
Well,
I will stay on this spiritual path and keep guarded against that, for sure.
I can't even see you like that. But, when we fall too far out of balance, that's what's going to happen because we get stuck in that shadow side. We start manifesting even more of the shadow side, and just negative on top of negative on top of negative starts rolling into our life, and that's the ending result. And it's really hard to get out of once that starts happening. So that's why these symptoms are so important. And so I can also see from your birth date that you are in an 8 personal year right now, okay? Because your date of birth is, well, I'm not going to say the date, but your birthday is this month, okay? And so this means that you've just entered into this 8 year, which means this year is you're going to be taking some action in money-related areas. And so you will be balancing material and spiritual matters within your life, and you're going to be gaining strength by overcoming any obstacles that you have. And this year you will be manifesting your power. And so this is going to be an excellent year for honors and awards for you, Cassie.
Well, that is kind of cool. Everybody does like recognition, but my biggest honor comes when I make a difference to somebody's life, because that to me is the highest honor, is being able to reach out and which is why I'm so thrilled with the work that you do, because you can really affect such a great change with the way that people do things, how they do things, and what they're doing, and they can really step into their life purpose. Because, when you're doing what you're meant to do, that's when you feel the most at comfort with yourself. That's when you feel like everything is going good. That's when you connect with yourself in your sweet spot, like I like to call it. And so I love your work, too. So I think that we're both on a path of being honored just simply by serving, and I'm very excited about that.
Exactly. And, for this year, just a tip, don't doubt your power to succeed or your inability to follow through with your goals. And, also whenever I was talking about your name and what we have the ability to have those effects on and have those positive vibrations and frequencies, then any shows that you have special names for, a book that you may be writing, a particular course that you're going through, or that you're going to design, one that you're going to write and invite people. Remember that these particular names are going to have a certain frequency and vibration too, and it's really awesome whenever you have those in your birth chart and activated to your highest good. That way you're going to attract the right audience, and you're going to vibrate out to those people that you want to have come to it. It's going to send up that beacon of light, okay? And it's going to actually invite them out there in the energy fields, okay? And they're going to pull into you.
I'm really excited because a lot of our listeners are creators. We're spiritual people that are trying to do good for the planet. And I never considered using numerology on a book title or a program that you're putting out, but I am totally stoked about that. I'm going to be talking to you about that in a couple of weeks, too, as I'm developing a few things. So that
Absolutely,
is wonderful news for everybody.
Absolutely. And the launch date that you do it, or your start date that you do it, I mean, all of these dates and all of these times and the names of things are very, very significant, very, very significant to what you're doing on a day-to-day basis and what you're wanting to emit out there. And you want it to be a fortunate number. It could flop, right? Or it's going to have those different challenges associated with it. And it could have been successful, but the frequency that was there blocked it, and you don't even know it. So I would suggest that you have Shari look at your numbers and make sure that it's all lined up so that you benefit and have that abundancy that you deserve and what your worth is to come back to you.
Every time I talk to you, I get more and more great advice. I am just loving our relationship, my new best friend.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
This is fantastic. Okay, well, I tell you what, why don't you just give us a little bit more? I am going to be contacting you because I know we've got so much more to discuss than we have time, but I think our listeners have gotten a taste of just how important your numbers are. I mean, it's mathematical. Those of you who are spiritual, God has created this world in such a precise way. Numbers have got to be part of it. They are a part of it, and I am so excited to learn more about it. And they can get a hold of you. How can they reach you? How can they get your services so they, too, can manifest like a madman and see all of their dreams come true and really connect with their purpose in life and feel good knowing that they're doing the right thing for themselves and others?
Absolutely. Okay, I also want to give your listeners a special offer of a complimentary session with me to reveal their name number and to find out if their name is fortunate or if we need to make a few little changes.
Oh,
right?
My gosh, free? She said
Absolutely.
free. Did everybody hear that? Wow.
Yes.
That is fantastic.
Exactly. So what they need to do is, one, go to my Facebook page, type in Phoenix Guidance, that's PhoenixGuidance, hover over the like button, and click to get notifications so that you can get all of my information, posts, and specials. And then, two, send me a message with the code name Believe and Receive Radio. And when I receive this message, I will be in touch with you to set up your consultation. You can also find me at www.phoenixguidance.com. You can email me at phoenixguidance@austin.rr.com, or you can give me a call at 512-535-3701. Just leave me a message and I'll call you back.
And all of that information will be posted on my website, which is currently CassandreEubank.com. And you might see a change in that name soon, but we'll have everything routed. So if you're used to it or have it marked as a favorite, you'll still be able to get there. Wow, this has been one of the best shows, and I can't believe you're offering a free reading. That is huge, and I'm sure everybody's going to find great value in that. Well, Shari, you have been a fantastic guest. You are a wealth of information and somebody that everybody needs to talk to, because I'm sure that there are plenty of people out there that do this, but I have heard just testimonial after testimonial after testimonial of the changes that you have made in people's life. And if you're going to have somebody working with you, you want the best, which is why I'm so glad that I've had you on my show today. I like to have that value for my listeners, and you certainly have got a great value, and I thank you so much for sharing that with us all today.
Oh, you are so very, very welcome. And I thank you, Cassie, for having me on your show today.
Thank you for joining us for another Zen Lightning program on Believe and Receive Radio. For more information on this show or to make a deeper connection with Cassandra, please go to www.cassandraeubank.com. Now, that's www.cassandraeubank.com. Join our tribe of individuals that come together to raise each other up. Get more Zenlightenment from her blog and find out how Cassandra can serve you at www.cassandraeubank.com.